Top of the morning to one and all. It is Tuesday of Irish Whiskey Auctions, auction week. Look at
Sounded
that.
very official, baby.
I know, yes, I was on my own in wee rant there. So today is Tuesday and we are bombing along. Actually, the room is starting to come together early. Good on you, lads.
See, it's holiday mode. They're all going on the holidays.
They are all going on their bloody holidays. Yeah, it's ridiculous at the minute. So it is. Yeah, inconsiderate swines. Sorry, valuable staff members. Today was we looked over and we've legacy bottles. I mean, they come up from time to time. I think legacy bottles are the one thing that sort of I don't know. I don't know whether people appreciate them or know what they are. I mean, they always chase the shiny, whereas you get some of these old legacy bottles and they go for fairly humble money compared to, you know, a modern day Middleton Very Rare or a Redbreast or something like that. But these things are a piece of our distilling heritage. I know they're not making any more Middleton 2020s, but there's even less of these things out in the wild. So why don't people collect them? And is it because they don't look pretty? They're a bit scruffy. You know, they're not all nice and neat and lovely presentation. So look, I said I'd give them a bit of love today, talk about them. Today, we're going to start this end, Sinead. Look at here, right? Here's a huge piece of our history. So we had the privilege of talking to John Teeling on the Whiskey Bus, and it is fantastic to be in that man's company and to talk to him and listen to him. And he's so witty and he's so clever. He's so clever. Oh, you're so clever. But I did have a fanboy moment when you're standing talking to him, because you can't but help, you know, like what the man does. Don't misunderstand him. He is a businessman true and true, but it's lovely to listen to him. But here we go. Here's Cooley Distillery. So again, there's a bottle of the old Locks whiskey from Brusna. I mean, 30 on the proof, the bottle itself, and it's got the old label and it's got a sort of driven cork up the top.
And you can tell it's old because look at the wonky glass.
Look at the wonky glass, everything about it. But if you go the other end of the spectrum, other end of the rack, Sinead, we've got one of these old Locks liqueurs. They go great money. Time and time again, they've gone great money. But the real weird one for us was last month. There was two of these cards in the auction on their own, and they went for very good money. They were presentation cards. So these would have been the original bar cards that would have been given into bars to try and promote the whiskies and promote the brands. Great thing to have, direct from a 200-year-old distillery, and as I say, that's one of the old Brusna distillery.
And it's the same.
It's the same bottle, yeah. That's the thing. Would it be lovely to have that as a display?
Actually.
Yeah, very nice. 70 under proof, slightly different label up the top. It said 70 under proof, whereas that one's a sticker. But again, lovely to have.
That is actually
really,
cool.
really. And again, makers of famous whiskey for 200 years. But down here is the modern incarnation of it, and so we have a bottle of Tyrconnell that's in this month's auction, but it's commemorating the first distillation in 54 years of the old Kilbeggan distillery, 19th of March 2007. So when the old Kilbeggan distillery, which would have made them Locks, closed down, you know, we thought it was lost and gone forever. Again, the story goes that the people of Kilbeggan, you know, kept the license alive, and you know, I know David and Bernadette, they sort of worked hard to look after the distillery and a lot of the stuff that was around it as well. But here's one of the bottles of Tyrconnell that would have come out of Cooley when John decided to open it back up. But here's something absolutely unique. So this is a bottle of Cooley whiskey, specially bottled for the directors from cask number 1, 1989, at cask strength 48.2 ABV. One of only 10 bottles. Lads,
That's cool.
that is spectacular. That is unbelievable. I mean, that's a piece of history. That is literally a piece of history. Now again, typical to Cooley, I mean, it was stuck in any old, like there's a Locks bottle with a Kilbeggan thing on the top. I have no question at all about the legacy and the history of this bottle, because of who it came to us from, so I know it is beyond reproach. But I mean, if somebody handed you that, you'd sort of go, ah, yeah, I've made that at home myself. But because I know where it came from, and trust me, guys, you're going to have to trust me on
And
this.
because there was only 10 bottles.
You know, I mean, you couldn't fake that if you tried. But again, it just goes to show what Cooley was like back in the dark days, in the early days. It was, if it was in a dirty bucket, shit's grand, let it on. Beside that, again, in pieces of our history, there's a bottle of wine, a spirit here. We're not quite 100% sure what it is. I mean, the label is quite deteriorated, but it's of Quins of Limerick. We think it's a bottle of wine, a bottle of spirit, from Quins of Limerick. It's just one of them pieces of history again. Trying to date things like this is a real challenge. I mean, the bottles, it's got very little on the bottom of it. No sort of clues for us, but it has a seam, so it is a moulded bottle as well. So that's one. Bottle of Morgan's, Morgan and Sons, and again, it's got the embossed Morgan and Sons. One of the old bottles of Jameson from Dublin. Not a cracker of a bottle. But beside that is a bottle of Jameson, the old half bottle, Crested 10. The original Crested 10. So that was brought out at the time to sort of distinguish it from the regular Jameson. And it was, at the time, the original Crested 10 was 10-year-old stock. But then they started taking the age statement of it and that. But it carried its name. Still carries through today, where it's called Jameson X or something like that. Crested or whatever. Marketing team have decided beside that. So one of these has sold, I mean, these original Mitchells and Sons bottles go for mega money. I mean, this is one of the old original yellow spots. You can see it on it. They are highly, highly sought after. Robert Mitchell's, continuing on, I think it's 5 generations now the family have been going for. They're still trading strong. Robert himself is a great fan of Irish whiskey and a great supporter of Irish whiskey, so it's another good one to have. Findlater. So the Findlater name is synonymous with bonding and spirits in Dublin. I mean, they would have been wine merchants and they would have had ports and sherries and stuff like that. But they were also bringing in whiskey. That's a bottle of Highland whiskey, but it's got Alex Findlater and Son, Dublin and branches. So I don't know what the and bit is, but it's actually a 30 under proof bottle, and it's a small little bottle. But again, it's in really, really good condition as well. Another good legacy bottle. Jumping from the Jameson to Redbreast. I mean, Redbreast has been... Look at that. How could she do that with one hand? Look, without even drop.
She's a magician.
She had to drop it. Redbreast. These old Redbreast bottles do really, really well, and there's guys out there who have multiples of them in every variant and every incarnation. I mean, it's a hell of a set to have. Some of them have continued on into the modern single casks and the modern Redbreast 12 and maybe all the cast strength releases and all that sort of stuff. But we have these come into us, and these are the old early 80s, late 1979. So it's a 1978 bottle from the Redbreast 12, but it's the Gilbey's 750ml bottle. Again, everybody was drinking 750ml bottles at the time, 40%. Beside that, we've got it when it changed ownership to Edward Dillon and Company. So we've 2 different variants of that. So the tall bottle, that pure pot still one that everybody sort of... It was a weird one, and I don't know where it sat for them, and it changed the traditional bottle. I mean, you can see the similarities from the 70s and 80s, and even back to the 1920s bottle that we had. They were always that squat bottle. Yeah. So where they were going with this, you know, though I know they were trying to differentiate it with the pot still blend, but just didn't work. Some of the collectors sort of nearly frown upon it and scowl at it as well. And there's a bottle of Redbreast 12 that was obviously in the light somewhere. You can see the labels quite faded on that, where it was sitting in a window or
so they decided to go, well, that's not working, so we'll just go back to that.
Yeah. No, there is a variance between the two, the blended one. I know that the real Redbreast collectors would be able to wax lyrical about it. These bottles, I mean, you've got guys out there, you've got the Finan O'Connors, you've got the Leo Phelans, Will Murphy, you've got these guys, Niall Tubridy. Now we've got modern collectors. Dara Fagan will probably be one of the most prolific Redbreast. Larry in America. Larry probably personally has the biggest Redbreast collection in the world.
Probably.
Individual Redbreast collector. He's got bottles that Middleton don't even have. And Middleton don't have bottles. But I mean, I know that he has shown them labels and spoken to Carol about stuff that they all just went, wow, where did you get something like that? Beside that, Irish Mist Liqueur. Irish Mist Liqueur is a funny one. I mean, people I don't know whether Irish people dismiss it. There probably would have been a bottle of Irish Mist in nearly every household in Ireland for years and years and years. 1948 was the first year that they brought it out. We actually had, in our auctions some time back, one of the first ever releases of Irish Mist. And we had a certificate from... I think it was from Tullamore Dew to verify that it was part of the original ones. But Irish Mist is this liqueur, spirit liqueur. It goes really, really well. And I mean, particularly in America, people use it as a drink on its own or as a mixer. But what we have
I've never tasted it.
What we have here,
this
Katie,
is so cute.
You like this, don't you?
I love this, actually.
Look at that. So this is a crystal decanter, Waterford crystal decanter. Again, done especially for Irish Mist. It's got a silver plated neck tie or neck, whatever it is, with Irish Mist liqueur engraved onto it. It sits into the bottle. Again, it's got the stopper, which is considerably heavy.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's lead crystal.
Yeah, and if anybody doesn't know,
I don't think I'll be drinking it.
If you do buy this, which is beautiful, it'll look fabulous on your shelf, do not drink the liquid, because it was discovered
a little bit of lead poison never killed anyone.
that the alcohol in the bottle actually absorbs the lead out of the crystal.
Leeches, yeah.
Which can in turn poison you. You'd be dead.
So you'd be literally dead from alcohol poisoning.
Essentially, yeah.
Right.
Your Irish Mist killed you.
Irish Mist killed you. I don't think that the ABV in Irish Mist, I think is at what, 30% or something like that? I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Is it on this bottle? The picture of Dromoland Castle on the background. No.
It's not on the outer, it's probably on the bottle itself.
Yeah, it's probably on the bottom itself. And that says something in Irish. What does that say on the top? What does that say? Anybody read that? No? No. So, picture of Ashford Castle one side and Dromoland Castle on the other. That's your weekend retreats, Katie, isn't it?
If only.
If only, yeah. So that's it. That is some of the legacy bottles. We have a few more. There's a fair few Scotch old bottles as well. Bottles of old black and white, bottles of Hague, bottles of old bottles of Canadian Club. I mean, these bottles come to light when people unfortunately pass away and people are maybe doing house clearances and stuff like that. And they sort of have them and now are realising maybe there's a few euro in it and they'll try and sell them off and hopefully do some good with it or have some sort of something to remember the person that passed away.
Yeah, his brain's not working
no,
today,
it's
baby,
not.
is it?
Sinead, look at this. Royal Irish Constabulary. Look at that.
It's actually pretty good.
So it's a wall plate. It is heavy.
It is.
It is
very
very
cast
heavy.
iron, baby.
It is cast iron, so don't drop it. But it's got...
Turn it round.
Huh? Oh, turn around. Do the full model.
And then you have it. You actually do have it upside down, my love.
All right. I was about to say the harp looks like it's up the wrong way, but I was holding it upside down.
You had it upside down, yes.
So the Royal Irish Constabulary, that is a piece of our history as well, and that's in this month's auction as well.
It's lovely, isn't it?
That's one of the many things as well. But that's it. We're back tomorrow, which is Wednesday, and we are going to talk about...
Yes,
we are.
All
And probably talk about it for quite some time.
for the whole video.
Absolutely, yes, that's it. Yeah. Okay, until tomorrow, lads, slán leat, goodbye, and drink legacy whiskey. Bye.
Bye.